talk to you a little bit more about the Acdf surgery that I had a little over 3 weeks ago. And this time I want to talk more about the actual day of surgery. I did mention that one of my big mistakes was not rereading my pre-surgery directives multiple times. I pretty much listened to the nurse on the day that we did pre-op, and I never looked at the paperwork again. That's a big mistake. Do yourself a favor, reread the paperwork. It's a high stress time, so you're bound to forget some details, and you don't want to rely on your memory at that time. I felt confident I was remembering things properly because my husband was there with me, so I thought between the two of us we were, had it all together, but we were incorrect about a couple of things. Also, on the day that you go, they'll probably tell you that you don't have to stay overnight, but of course, you want to pack a bag just in case. But make sure that you have an outfit that is very easy to get back into, because after your surgery you don't really want to have to put your hands over your head. So I wore a button-up shirt dress, and that was really easy to get into. The nurses even commented on how easy it was to get me ready to leave. And I did leave the same day. Several hours after my surgery, they got me up walking around the unit. I didn't have any drains, so my pain was manageable, and I was able to talk and swallow, so I was able to go home. I'm really glad that I had the easy clothes to get back into, and just some sandals, so I didn't need a lot of help. The other thing was we had seen on another post about having straws to drink out of because you really can't move your neck too much, so that was something that we already had. As far as the actual surgery, once we got into pre-op and they switched me into my hospital gown, my husband was able to stay with me until anesthesia came to get me. And I made a short on hearing other people come out of surgery, and some of those people were screaming because they were having a bad reaction to the anesthesia. And I'll mention it again just because I think it's really important for people to know that your doctors aren't judging you. So if you didn't go off your street drugs or your medications, you want to make sure you let the nurses know before you go under anesthesia. Otherwise, coming out of anesthesia can be pretty terrifying because it's, they're not working with a clean body. So that's something to mention. That being said, when anesthesia did come to take me away and start to bring me down, it was very, very fast. It was much different than any other operation I've ever had. In fact, I don't ever remember counting backwards. That's how fast it was. Whatever they gave me to relax me was, fantastic. But because that wasn't my typical situation, I really did a lot of visualization about how I wanted to come out of the surgery when I woke up. In the past, I had had a lot of bad tremors and seizures when I had my knee operations, and the idea of that happening for neck surgery was pretty frightening. So I did a lot of thinking about when I wake up, how I'm gonna just simply open my eyes and stare at my feet and sort of step by step go through my body, make sure I can, move my toes, straighten and bend my knees a little bit, touch my fingers to my thumb, move my eyes up and down, side to side. And that fractional relaxation, micro movement sort of made me feel like that I had more control. And it also gave me a moment to be with myself long enough that I actually didn't say anything to the nurse. The nurse that was attending was able to eventually just look over and see that I was awake and asked me how I was doing. And I was trying really hard not to move, but I was in pain, and tears were coming down my face. And so he had said, "You look like you're in pain, let me get you something for pain." And then when he came back, I had remembered that in videos I had watched, most of the people seemed to be packed with ice around their throat. And as I said in my former post, a lot of what I saw was old, which is why I'm posting this, because it's new, because apparently they don't do that anymore. When I asked him why I didn't have ice, because it seemed odd to me, you know, that here's this area that's swelling where, you know, I breathe. So I had asked him if I was supposed to have an ice pack, and he reassured me that no, that the swelling, the fluid in the swelling process actually has some therapeutic benefits, and that wasn't necessary. So be aware of the videos that you're watching, if they're old and out of date, or if it's, you know, just a different methodology. You know, it might not be exactly what you experience when you are there yourself. So I felt pretty good there. I was surprised at how manageable the pain was, and I was shocked that I was able to get up and walk around within a few hours. I was scared about the ride home. They put on the collar, and, you know, we had about an hour to get home, and that was pretty unpleasant. And then once I got home, I think my adrenaline was rushing so much that, you know, I actually had trouble relaxing. One of the things that they told me to do was stay ahead of the pain. They said to take the pain medicine and the muscle relaxers, because if you wait until you need them, then it's going to take a really long time to, you know, feel the results. And so certainly the first night I took pain medicine, and I felt so good that the second day I didn't take it on time because I didn't think I needed it, especially because so many people are posting that they didn't have to take any pain medicine, that they only had one narcotic the whole time through their whole recovery. And I think that's great if it's your experience, but, you know, if you're in pain, there's a reason why they prescribed the pain medicine. So you can't get good rest if you're in pain. So, you know, I would tell people, don't try to be, you know, a hero, and, you know, if you need it, then take it, because I kept trying not to, and that was a real mistake. So the other thing is the muscle relaxers are trying to help your body combat the awkward position that it's been put in. And so we've all had the experience of, you know, being hunched over a, you know, desk for too long, and you get those muscle cramps. Imagine what your neck's going through. So you need those muscle relaxers to try to be able to get the rest that you need afterwards. So my second day was pretty horrible with pain. I think that the adrenaline started to wear off from the actual surgery, and I was pretty miserable. And then the other really horrible mistake that I made was I had seen so many videos where people were told to stay in their hard collar for 23.5 hours a day, only taking it off to bathe, that I didn't remember that my nurse had told me that you don't have to sleep with your collar. So the first night I slept with it, and by the end of the second day, when I post that third day video, you'll see my whole neck is all bruised, my collarbone's bruised, the bruising starts to go down into my armpit. And you know, I was in more pain from that than I was at my incision site. So I called, you know, the medical team and told them what happened, and she said, you're not supposed to be wearing the collar, you know, so don't wear it. And so that was great news. However, then when I tried to wear it just in the house during the day, now the damage was already done. So every time I put it on, it felt like I was losing the feeling in my arm, like a brachial entrapment or thoracic outlet syndrome, that sort of symptom. So I called her back, and then she said, if it's bothering you that much, then don't wear it except for when you're taking a walk or if you're in the car. Now, I've been really blessed that I haven't had to be in the car. I've been able to stay home. So I'm just not even going for rides, because I would feel stupid if I had to tell my doctor I got in a fender bender because I wanted to go to Starbucks or, you know, take a ride around the block or something. So I pretty much just wore the hard collar when I was taking the walks, and I was trying to walk at least 3 or 4 times a day first day out, I just walked to the neighbors and back. Then the second day out, I walked a couple more houses down. And then pretty much by the third and fourth day, I was walking probably about 10 houses away and back. I'm not actually sure how far that is, but you know, it's about 15, 20 minutes or so of walking each time I go out. And on the third day, I felt really good. I made a couple of videos for family members to let them know how it was going. And that gives you a really good look at what somebody looks like after the surgery. I thought I looked pretty good. And I'll post those, you know, later. I've got to figure out how to do that. And then on the fourth and fifth day, that was that weekend, I was really struggling with the idea that they told me not to bend, lift, or twist. However, I felt like I could. I was not feeling so much pain that I didn't feel like I could do it. And I knew I wasn't supposed to lift anything heavy. I knew that. And I knew I wasn't supposed to make, you know, quick movements or big movements. But certainly if I dropped something, or, you know, if I wanted to reach up to the cabinet to get a lightweight plate or something like that, I felt like I could do it. And that was a mistake. About 2 days into that, I think it was day 6, 7 maybe, I was in such agony I almost went to the hospital. I was sure that I had done something wrong. Just burning sensation, you know, across my upper back. My arms were going numb, and I literally just couldn't even get ahead of the pain, even though I was taking the pain medicine. And so then I called them, and they prescribed some steroids. Apparently when they do the surgery, they put some anti-inflammatories or maybe some steroids locally at the site, and then as those start to wear off, you know, you don't have that benefit, and then you might be maybe doing more than you should because you're starting to feel a little bit better, and you know, you might even be trying not to take the medicine because, you know, nobody wants to be constipated. So you know, all of that, you know, all of those things layered together, you know, turned into not a great situation. So anyway, in talking to my kids and my family, they all said, you know, you're using your arms way too much. You know, you gotta ask for help. You know, if you drop something, just ask somebody to pick it up. And so I did call, and when I got the prescription for the steroids, I asked them, am I supposed to be in so much pain that I can't pick things up, bend forward, or reach overhead, or is this to keep me out of pain? Or is it to keep my, you know, hardware from being compromised? And the nurse said that it was a little bit of all of them, that the restrictions of movement were to keep me from being in pain, and that, you know, I should be feeling a little bit of pain where it's not particularly pleasant to do it, but that also that the fusion, you know, that you want to limit range of motion. So they were saying that the hard collar wasn't necessary because the titanium is so strong that you don't actually have to have the hard collar on, but the range of motion should be limited. So that's, you know, another insight is the no bending, lifting, twisting, unless it's micro movements. And just because you can do something doesn't necessarily mean that you should do something. And now, let me think, so that put us at about 6, 7, that was awful. And then around 8, 9 was when everything started kind of turning around, and, you know, more of the day was good. You know, getting up every day and doing a few little chores, and I've been doing some red light therapy on my neck. I did some lymphatic drainage, which you can get some tutorials online. It's very gentle, like almost the weight of barely touching your skin to try to promote some of the movement of fluid out of the neck. I did something called an MPS dolphin neurostim, which is supposed to help with scar releasing. I did the postural corrector, which you wear, which tells you when you're leaning too far forward or slouching. That has been amazing because I had no idea how bad my posture was, even when I think it's good. And then also I made this little neck roll out of a half of a pool noodle, because in the beginning I couldn't find a way to get my neck comfortable on the pillows. And I just wrapped a half a pool noodle with some cotton and then put a nylon sock over it to hold it all together. And that has really worked out well. I did have one night, I think I told you when I thought I might need to go to the hospital, I just was miserable, that I filled up some gallon bags, storage bags with water, and double bagged them so they wouldn't leak all over the bed, and I used that as kind of like a pillow under my neck and shoulders. That also helped. For me, because I'm still suffering from some carpal tunnel type symptoms, I've been wearing the carpal tunnel sleeves to keep me from bringing my hand into some kind of weird flexion. Apparently that's a really natural thing to do when you're sleeping, especially when you're feeling a little vulnerable. So anyway, so I guess that's probably long enough for today, and as I think of more things to share, I will. Have a great one.